Alright, guys, I'm sorry, there's some sound. Oh, it was that. Okay, I am so sorry about being late, and I don't even know what just happened, and the sound, and I just cut off the intro really quickly. So yeah, Ustream, as usual, is being wonderful and not cooperating. So yeah, I'm sorry I'm late. It was not letting me connect, and then just now I had the Ustream window open and it started playing some music. Anyway, I apologize if you heard that or if whatever. I'm just sorry for everything. I'm sorry I'm late mostly. So, but it's okay. We're live now. Welcome to Phone Dog Live. We'll just get on with the show because it's not like this is the first time Ustream has screwed up. Yeah, welcome to Phone Dog Live. I'm Sydney from PhoneDog.com. We are going to have a good show despite all of the bad stuff that just happened, but that's okay. We do have a lot to talk about. We're going to start with the Droid 4 because we just got it. We have an unboxing and an HD video sample. We also have, let me get everything together now that I know I'm going to be broadcasting. I kind of like put it all away because I have no idea what was going on. So yeah, Droid 4, Lumia 900 and 800, BlackBerry Torch Challenge, iPad 3, Galaxy S3, just all kinds of great topics. And so just give me a second so I can get settled, and hopefully I can do this quickly. I'm sorry I have to do this live. I usually do it before I go live, but then okay, ustream.tv/phonedog. Okay. So we have that, and I promise, not every show is like this. If this is your first time watching, and you're like, wow, she is really disorganized, she's very bad at this. It's not usually like this, it's just today Ustream was acting up. But the good news is, if you're not watching this live, like most people that watch the show, if you're watching on YouTube, then you can just skip all of this. You can check out the timeline below the video, and I'll have the timeline of all the topics that we discussed and when I talk about it, so you can jump around and move to whichever topic you would like to listen to. But we are going to go ahead and get started just because we're running late. So I'm on Ustream. We're live. We broadcast live every Friday. I am also on Facebook, so if you're on Facebook, you can feel free to join the chat there. Everyone on Ustream in the chat room, thanks for being here. I hope you guys enjoy it. But let's get started just now and forget all of the misfortunes. Let's get started with the Droid 4. So we got it. Aaron has an unboxing video that you can watch. He also has an HD video sample that you can watch. The phone records 1080p HD video, so you can check out the video sample. This is, one of the phones that I love physical keyboards. If you guys watch the show or, you've seen me, heard me talk about it, I love phones with physical keyboards. It's not that I can't type with a virtual keyboard. I know that they've gotten better and better, and, I used several virtual keyboards that are great. But still, I like having a physical keyboard. I just feel more comfortable with it. And so the Droid 4 is kind of like one of the only, high-end Android smartphones that has a physical keyboard. It's been that way ever since the original Droid. There's some Android smartphones with a physical keyboard. I think they're becoming, less and less popular. But there are still some released, with a keyboard. But like I said, they're not as popular, and for some reason they're usually not the high-end super phones. It's always like sort of the, high-end good phones or the really cheap low-end phones. There's never like a high-end super phone with a physical keyboard, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's because the manufacturers want to keep the design sleek and they want to have the thinnest phone in the world, and so they just leave off the keyboard. I think it would be pretty cool if they could make a really thin phone with a physical keyboard. I mean, maybe put your talents to that, and because, everybody's making thinner phones, and, the Galaxy S3 is going to be like, 7 millimeters thick. I mean, everyone can make a thin phone, but you make a thin phone with a physical keyboard, I think that would be pretty awesome. So Anyway, but obviously they're not going to listen to me. So if you want a physical keyboard and you also want a great phone, the Droid 4 is pretty much your own option, or your only option. Verizon also has the Samsung Stratosphere, which is a good phone, 1 gigahertz processor. It's an LTE device. It has a Super AMOLED Plus or Super AMOLED display. It's a good phone, but compared to the Droid 4, it's, the Droid 4 is definitely a better phone. So just a quick, recap of the specs. 1.2 gigahertz dual-core processor, has a 4-inch QHD display, a 5-row edge-lit keyboard, obviously like we just talked about. It looks very similar to the Razr. It ships with Android 2.3.5. With Motorola's custom UI. It has an 8-megapixel camera with an LED flash, and like I said earlier, captures full 1080p HD video, 16 gigabytes of internal memory, 1 gigabyte of RAM. And so, yeah, by all accounts and purposes, it's a great phone. The only thing I'm really disappointed about is the display. It has, QHD display, which is good resolution, 960 by 540. It's a 4-inch display, so it's not like, the Galaxy Note or the Titan, where it's like this giant display. So the pixel density should be pretty decent. The only thing is, these days it's not just about the resolution, it's also about the display technology. We have Super AMOLED Plus displays, we have the Retina display, we have the Nova display, clear black display. Nokia is using that. So, these days it's not just about the resolution, it's really the display technology. And so I'm kind of disappointed that Motorola didn't go with something, whatever. Pentile has kind of been their thing in the past, and that wasn't really too popular. So that's the only thing I'm really disappointed about. But I mean, honestly, if that's the only thing, then you really have nothing to complain about. The nice thing about the phone, not just having a keyboard, but the fact that they actually spent a lot of time designing this keyboard, and I wish I had a picture. I didn't think to get one. But, you can see it in the unboxing video, is that they really do put a lot of time into designing the physical keyboard. Unlike some phones I use, that come with a physical keyboard, and it's like, did you use this keyboard at all? I mean, did you spend any time designing it? Because there's so many things that don't make sense. Back a while ago, the common thing was to put the space bar in a row of letters, which is just dumb and uncomfortable. Or, putting, not having dedicated keys for the period or the comma, which are like the two most used punctuation marks. And so, it's not just having the keyboard, but, I really appreciate it whenever the manufacturers spend a lot of time designing the keyboard and making sure that it's actually a very good keyboard, and that's what Motorola did with the Droid 4. So, and it's edge lit, so it lights up, so it's easy to see in the dark, which is pretty nice. Like I said, Aaron has also uploaded an HD video sample, and you can watch it. It's, great video. I think, these days it's like every phone that has HD, at least all the high-end phones, obviously. Like, I've tested some mid-range or low-end phones that have HD video recording, and it's like, it's just not. But these days the high-end phones, they have some great cameras on them, and the Droid 4 is no different. One thing that I've always loved about Motorola phones is audio quality, and we talk about it a lot with the call quality, the microphone, but that also translates into whenever you're capturing video. It's one thing to have great video quality, but I think if you have bad audio, it really doesn't mean anything, because, if it looks great, okay, but if it sounds terrible, then, what's the point in even using it? And so Motorola has had a great history of having, great audio quality, something that, you can't really say about some other manufacturers, although they are getting better. So that's one of the things I noticed with this video sample that Aaron posted. It was great audio, great video, and so you can watch that. It's available now from Verizon. It's an LTE device. Definitely check it out. Verizon has so many great phones now. They've always had, one of the best Android lineups. I think, T-Mobile has some really hot devices. They really started the Android revolution. But in terms of quantity, Verizon generally has the most high-end phones. So definitely check that out. And also the unboxing video and the HD video sample We're going to move on now. That went by very quickly, but it was just because of us getting started late. So it's already 4:20, which is crazy. So we're going to just move on to some Nokia news. Now, we have news on the Lumia 800 and the Lumia 900, but quite a bit of news here. So the Lumia 800, we just got official confirmation of a white version, which looks pretty hot. I don't know what it is about phones, but they always look better in white. I don't know. I mean, the iPhone, I think, of course, the iPhone looks great. I mean, I think, I don't really I'm not a fan of Apple. I've talked about that before. I mean, you guys know how I feel about Apple, but the iPhone hardware I think, is the best hardware in the smartphone world. And in white, it looks great. Same thing when we see any other devices by HTC. Samsung has released a couple of white devices, and they always look, I don't know, for some reason better in white. I don't know what it is. So the Lumia 800 in white, I have a picture. I'll show you guys here. White 800. Here it is. Basically not any changes with the hardware except for the color. And then here's another one. I mean, it just looks great, especially against the black screen. And it's like a beautiful black screen. It's clear black technology, so it's even more black than other blacks, And then did I just show that one? I think I did. Anyway, so that's the white Lumia. I think it looks so great. Of course, you guys know I already love the Lumia 900. I think the hardware I just gushed about the iPhone. I think the Lumia 800 and 900, again, just some of the best hardware. And having it in white, it's funny how, like I was saying, for some reason having it in white, it's not a big deal. It's just a different paint color. It's nothing. They haven't changed anything. It's the same phone, but for some reason I saw it and I was just like, oh my God, I want that phone. It looked great. This will be coming later on this month. The first batch will be going to the UK, Germany, France, Italy, a couple of other European countries. Hopefully it'll come to the US. We're not really sure yet. Another white device, the Lumia 900, will also be coming in white. I will show you a picture, but it looks basically like the Lumia 800, just with a larger display. This will also be coming in white, but we also got kind of some information on when we might see the Lumia 900. This is coming from Dave Zatz of Zatz Not Funny, which is kind of a clever name. I think that's pretty cool. So his experience, this is his story. He went to an a Microsoft store, like a brick and mortar store, and they were talking about the Lumia 900, and the employees there said that for a $25 deposit, you could pre-order a white or a black version of the AT&T Lumia 900. Neither one of them knew exactly how much it would cost when it launched, but they said it was either maybe like $150 or $200, which is pretty standard. That's what we see these days. I expect $200. Although, we had heard that it could be $100, so they're now saying that it could be $150 to $200, so who knows. They said that it could be coming. So they expected the white and black Lumia 900 to arrive in the second half of March. So kind of interesting that, we haven't heard anything solid, and that you could just walk into a Microsoft store and they would just tell you, yeah, you can pre-order it for $25 and it's going to be here in March. So I don't know. I mean, I trust the story, but who knows? They could have just been saying that. They could have just heard that somewhere on the internet and then said it as, basically a fact or something. Or maybe they just said it to get more sales. I don't know, get more customers. But that's the story. So the Lumia 900, as you guys know, I like Windows Phone. I've been using it for about 6 months, and I recently switched to BlackBerry, but that's like an entirely different story. But I really like Windows Phone, and I think, with Microsoft partnering with Nokia and getting some really great hardware. Again, you just heard me gush about the Lumia 800 and Lumia 900. So I'm really excited about the 900. I love the hardware. The operating system is great. So I think this is really going to be good for Windows Phone. The $100 price point that we heard was going to be excellent. But, if it's $150 to $200, yeah, it's more expensive. But again, that's, general price for most smartphones these days. And then one more rumor about the Lumia 900. This is about the Lumia 800, tipped to be coming to Microsoft stores on February 14th. And it will be coming in a bundle. Get this, the bundle is going to cost $900, which sounds like a lot, I know, but this is what the bundle is. You get the phone, obviously. You also get a Nokia Play 360 wireless speaker and a pair of Purity HD stereo headset, as well as a Bluetooth headset. So you may seem like a lot, but you're getting the phone, and I'm guessing this is off contract. So the phone itself would cost say $500 to $600. So that's that right there. And then if you look up the speaker that it comes with and the stereo headset, they both cost about $200 each. So you think, $400 plus you're getting the phone. So it's actually a very good price. Now, would I spend $900 on it? Probably not. I would just get the phone for $100 or $200 on contract and use my own earbuds. But, it's a good deal if you're into that, if you want to buy it unlocked, if you don't want to get it on contract. But that's a rumor. Now, it hasn't entirely been confirmed, but that's the rumor. So lots of Nokia news. We saw the white 800, the white 900, and then supposed launch dates for both of them. Let's move on now to, I mentioned just a few minutes ago how I had switched to BlackBerry. And if you guys have been following on PhoneDog, let me set some moderators in the chat room. I just realized I don't have any. I also just realized that I'm not logged in. Maybe that's why. There we go. Okay, so if you guys have been following on PhoneDog, then you know that Aaron and I are doing a couple of 30-day challenges. You guys got to vote on the phone that Aaron will be using, and so you voted on the Galaxy Note. So he's been using that. He just posted a video. I think this is day 7 for him. I think he posted that yesterday. So he's been using it for a week. You can check out that video to see what he thinks of it so far. I chose to use the BlackBerry Torch. I have never used a BlackBerry phone as my personal device. I've used it, obviously, because of my job. I have experience with it, but I liked Android, and then I switched to Windows Phone. I never really wanted to switch to a BlackBerry. But now that I've been using Windows Phone for about 6 months, I kind of feel like I'd kind of like to try something new. And so when Aaron asked, hey, would you like to do a 30-day challenge? I was like, yeah, I actually would like to switch to BlackBerry. So we got me a BlackBerry Torch 9810. Now, I had a lot of people ask why I chose to go with the Torch instead of the BlackBerry Bold 9900 or 9930, because obviously the Bold is a better phone. It has better build quality, and the Torch 9810 not really as good. So the reason why I picked, and I talk about this in the video, I just posted a video like 30 minutes ago. I'm on day 5. So you can check that out. So I talk about this in the video, but I just want to talk about it here too. So the reason I picked the Torch instead of the Bold is because I'm used to having a smartphone with a large touchscreen, and it's just something I'm used to. It's something I enjoy. I don't really like small touchscreens. For me, like a 4-inch display is a perfect size. So when switching to BlackBerry, I just figured the transition would be easier if I were to go to a BlackBerry with a larger display rather than if I were to go to the Bold. Yeah, it may be a better phone, maybe perform a little bit better, have better hardware, but having that small display, it would be that much harder to make the transition. It would be just one more thing to have to get used to. So I figured it would be easier, not only for me, but in giving BlackBerry a chance, it would, be basically giving it kind of a head start already. So that's why I picked the Torch. Anyway, so I'm on day 5, and, it's been interesting. I'm kind of learning my way around the operating system and basically figuring out how it works, just how everything is organized. It's kind of, I'm kind of like going back and forth. I do miss Windows Phone. Because it's just very different. A couple of things that I've noticed, and I might have to actually get my notes out here. instead of just trying to remember off the top of my head. A couple of things that I've noticed. There's some things about the phone that just kind of don't make sense to me. For example, uh, there's this silent button on the top, and then there's the volume rocker buttons. And so I'm like, oh, cool, I can easily like silence the ringer, and I just push the button and boom, I'm done. But that button doesn't actually silence the ringer. It's not actually for the ringer at all. That button or the volume rocker buttons, it doesn't do anything. In order to change the volume, you have to go to the profile and then change it, which is not difficult. But I mean, it'd be so much easier to just push the button and you have the button. I don't understand why they didn't just program it to do that. So it kind of just weird. Also, you have these different sections. So you have, of your apps, you have all, favorites, media, downloads, etc. And I think that's great. I love the categories. I have a favorites category where I have, all the apps that I use. However, I wish that there was a way to set a default category, like where it would go by default, because whenever I go home or if I push end in order to go home, it'll automatically go back to all, and so I have to slide over. Again, not a big deal, but it just seems like an obvious feature. Like, yeah, let me set a default category. I mean, you let me have categories and add new categories. Why can't I have a default one? So again, just kind of something about it that I don't quite understand. But maybe that's just me getting used to it. It's a different operating system, so it's going to function different than what I'm used to. Battery life has been great. I think one thing that I really miss is live tiles and widgets. And I've always said, if you guys watch the show, I've said before that I don't really use a lot of widgets, and I said that whenever I used Android, when I switched to Windows Phone, I was like, yeah, I mean, you don't have widgets, but you have live tiles, they're pretty much the same thing, and I never really used widgets anyway. Well, I didn't realize how much I actually do use widgets and live tiles. I didn't realize it until I didn't have the options, and now I'm like, wow, I really wish I had a widget or a live tile for that. I mean, obviously you have notifications. You can see I have a star because I have a new email, and then it's also in the notification bar. So you have that functionality. I mean, the notification system is there and it works, but it's not quite the same as a widget. There's just a lot more information you can get with a widget or a live tile. I can have not just the number, but maybe some information on who it's from, what the message is. With a widget, I can have my entire inbox, more detailed information. Whereas here, it's very limited. And again, that's not a bad thing. I mean, some people, they don't like widgets because maybe it clutters their home screen or it drains the battery, or maybe they just don't care. So it's not necessarily a bad thing what I'm talking about. It's just for me personally, I do really miss widgets and live tiles. One thing that I made the mistake of doing is whenever I had my Windows Phone device, and this was just stupid on my part, I saved all of my contacts to my Microsoft Live account, which I don't even use Microsoft Live, which is like Hotmail, but I don't even use it. But you have to have one in order to log into your phone and sync everything. So I synced all of my contacts to my Windows Live account. So now that I have a BlackBerry, obviously I can't sync that to my Windows Live account, so all my contacts are gone. So that was kind of frustrating, but that was completely my fault. Anyway, overall, it's just kind of these little things that either bother me or that I have to get used to or that I wish were different. And I'm still trying to kind of see if, am I going to get used to it, or is this just something that's going to bother me? I am an extremely picky person. It's just the way I am. And so little things that don't bother anybody else will bother me to no end. And so the thing with the silencer button, it's like I literally push this all the time just hoping that I'm wrong, even though I know I'm not. But it just bothers me so much. I'm like, this is dumb. This is so dumb. Why not? Why not? It would be so simple. Anyway, so, but I am willing to give BlackBerry a chance. I mean, I'm the one that chose to go with BlackBerry, so I didn't go into it with a negative mindset. I wasn't like, yeah, this is definitely going to suck. I thought it was going to be great. BlackBerries are great phones. I want to give it a chance. And so I have an open mind. I'm trying to stay positive, but it's been kind of difficult to do that. Don't even get me started on the app market or the BlackBerry app world. Just the selection is like not even just a limited selection because I can handle that because I came from Windows Phone, 60,000 apps, not that many compared to like 300, 600,000. So, I know what it's like to have limited apps, but at least on Windows Phone you had name brand apps, I could get, an ESPN app. With BlackBerry, not only are the apps limited, but there's just kind of like these cheap knockoff apps. They don't have the popular apps that everyone downloads. And then a lot of them are paid. There's like hardly any good free apps, and I like free apps. Yeah, the thing about the volume thingy, yeah, I know it's for media, like for music and whenever playing games and stuff. I figured that out because I was listening to Slacker Radio and then I exited the app, but I didn't actually exit. I just pushed the end button, which meant it was still running in the background. So I accidentally pushed this button and all of a sudden my music started blasting and I was like, what the heck is that? So again, doesn't really make sense. But yeah, so I know that it's for media, but why not make it for the ringer? I don't know. Or so you have two buttons. Why not make one of these for media and one of them for the ringer? And, why do you have two if they both do the same thing? I don't know. It's just so, but keeping an open mind. I'm still keeping an open mind. It's not over yet, but that's my update on BlackBerry. Do you guys have any questions? Is there anything you want to ask me about the BlackBerry or my experience, or is there something I should know? Taylor, I know you're a BlackBerry dude, so if there's anything I should know about BlackBerry, tell me, because I want it to be I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt. I want it to be a great phone. Keyboard shortcuts, yeah, I'm slowly kind of like figuring that out. I know, was it T and B, like T to go to the top of the page and B to go to the bottom of the page. Also, I have a speed dial set. I did that. Yeah, somebody told me I'm like slowly figuring out the keyboard shortcuts. So that to me is like not that big of a deal because that's just like, keyboard shortcuts. That's like a poor man's widget or something. I don't know. It's just, to me, it kind of seems like, it's nice having the, speed dial for for Marty, my husband, but it'd be nice to have a widget or a live tile. $sign for vibrate or silent. Okay, that's a good one. Alt $sign. Ooh, that's not it. Nope, that's not it either. I just want to... Okay, that apparently is not working. Maybe that's a setting. No, Alt. I did do Alt. Alt is not working. Says something about use this key to insert a $pound, which is not what I want to do. I'm not even typing right now. What are you talking about? Anyway, whatever. And the double space to do the period, yeah, I figured that one out. I do wish there was a key for comma, which, being a BlackBerry and like the ultimate email device, you would think that it would have a comma. I don't know. What are notifications like on BlackBerry OS? So you can actually see right now I have notifications. Let me see if I'm getting this on camera and I'll show you. Okay, so you can see this is my Yahoo account, which I never use. But anyway, so I have a new Yahoo email, which is also syncing with my messages inbox in general. So you can see the star there because I have a new email. And then also at the top, there's the little envelope to tell me that I have one new email. I don't know if you can see that. So that's basically what how it works. You get the star on whichever icon it is, whether it's for email or a text message, or if it's some other app, like I have a score mobile for like NBA scores, so it'll give me a star if I have like new scores or something. There's an airplane outside and it's like extremely loud. I don't know if you can hear that. So you have the star and then you also have the notification bar where it tells you whatever it is that the notification is for. So that's how that works. Hold onto the menu button to multitask. Yeah, I figured that one out too. I think. Yeah. At least I think I did. Switch application, yeah. Yeah, I figured out the multitasking. I wish there was a way. Is there a way to close? That's what I was wondering. Is there a way to close an app and, remove it from the multitasking? Or is this not really multitasking? It's just kind of like your last used apps or something. Does it have a virtual keyboard? Yeah, it has a virtual keyboard. Let me go to text messages. I'll do a new one. This is the virtual keyboard. It's not that great. I don't really ever use it. I've used it before, but I stopped using it after like the first day because I was like, this sucks. And you have a BlackBerry keyboard, so you don't really need the virtual keyboard. But it does have a virtual keyboard. If you want to enable the hotkeys, do a universal search of shortcut. Shortcut. Help. Maybe I'll figure that out. Oh, okay, I see. Open it and long press the back button. Okay. That obviously didn't work. Anyway, so that's my BlackBerry experience. Have you used BlackBerry Messenger? No, I don't, because I don't really know anyone that has a BlackBerry. I used to know a lot of people that had a BlackBerry, but now they've switched to Android or the iPhone. So no, I don't really use BlackBerry Messenger because I wouldn't have anybody to messages. Can I root a BlackBerry to run off Android? I don't know. I'm not sure. Not currently. Long pressing the back button should exit the app. Okay, that's what you were talking about. Okay. Alright, well that works. Switch application. Apparently I didn't because it's still there. I don't know. Okay, so let's move on. Oh my gosh, it's 4:41. Dude, I have so much else to talk about. Let's see. Chrome was released, iPad 3, Galaxy S3. Okay, we have 4 minutes. What would you guys like to talk about? Galaxy S3, iPad 3, or Chrome for Android? Granted, I'm not going to be able to talk about any of them for very long, but I will let you guys pick. Okay, we have 2 for Chrome, and actually that's all from the same guy, so 2 for Galaxy S3, iPad 3. You're not making this easy on me. We have equal votes. Okay, next person to comment decides right now. Boom. iPad 3. Okay, so we're talking about the iPad 3. We got pictures of the back of it, and supposedly we have 2 different stories here. So you have the website that posted the rear housing of the iPad 3, and their sources, where they got this picture from, say that the back is noticeably thicker than the iPad 2's back, which kind of leads them to believe that the iPad 3 will have a larger battery and that it could have a different camera and screen. And this kind of coincides with another report from The Verge, who said that the display will have a resolution of 2048 by 1536, which would be freaking amazing, a more powerful GPU, a package that will be 1mm thicker than the iPad 2. Now, this is interesting. They also said that the A6 chip found in the iPad 3 will be dual-core, not quad-core. And if you guys remember last week, we got a report from BGR, and their sources said that there was a code in the iOS software that referred to a processor that they hadn't heard of before. The code for the processor they hadn't seen before, so they assumed it was the new processor, the A6 chip. And then they automatically assumed that the A6 chip was quad-core. They didn't really have any proof why, and so you guys remember last week I was like, I don't really know if I believe this. All we know is that it's, a code that we've never seen before. We don't know if it's the A6 chip. We don't even know if it's a quad-core chip. So, I was kind of skeptical. Now these new reports kind of prove that it probably won't be a quad-core chip, that it will still be a dual-core chip, which is not bad. You know, I mean, a lot of Android tablets are shipping with a quad-core processor, but, you know, Android and iOS are completely different. You know, Android quad-core processor is great. It will make it basically normal, whereas with iOS, dual-core processor is fine. It should be, you know, I don't think it'll be a problem. Now, obviously, the fanboys will come out of the woodwork and say, you don't have a quad-core processor, and I do, but it doesn't really need a quad-core processor, so we're hearing that it will be a dual-core processor. Also, we're hearing that the iPad 3 could be announced in the first, or will be coming in the first week of March. So, earlier we'd heard that it could be coming in February this month, but now we're hearing it'll be in March, which is fine. It's not, you know, completely off base. All we know, or all we did know, was that it was going to come early this year. You know, first couple of months, that's the way it was with the original iPad and the iPad 2. So, being announced in March, you know, that's pretty much right on topic, or right on track for what we thought. So that's the iPad 3. I am very sorry we ran out of time. I guess it was the starting late, and then maybe I rambled for too long. I had so much more I wanted to talk about, and I didn't. So I apologize, guys. But if you want to ask me about any of this stuff, I was going to talk about Chrome, the Galaxy S3, the LG Miracle, a new Windows Phone device. If you want to ask me about any of that, then we can talk about it. But for now, we'll move on to the open Q&A. So if you have any questions about anything we talked about, just ask. I'll try to answer as many as I can. I'm on Facebook, and no one else is. Oh, wait, okay, there's somebody on Facebook. So I'm on Facebook. I'll see your comments there, but I'm also on Ustream. Also on YouTube. Leave your comments. I read them. I know I don't always respond to all of them, but I try to respond to the ones that I can. Okay, so Sydney, how was your day? It was pretty busy. This week was really very busy for me. I had a bunch of written reviews to do. I had an article that had to be done today, and I was running late, so like I had to stay up late last night to work on it, and then this morning I was just so exhausted, but I just got up and like went right and started working on it again, and then immediately I had to start on something else, and so I've been extremely busy this week, but it's okay. You know, I like being busy. I'd rather be busy than be not busy and not doing anything. Is Motorola ever going to make a Windows phone? Not really sure. We don't really know. Chrome. Okay, so I guess y'all want to talk about Chrome. The news with Chrome is not, I guess I'll tell you about it. So Google released Chrome for Android. It is still in beta, so there's a couple of glitches. I think I've heard like pinch to zoom and scrolling is kind of just a little bit choppy, but it's a beta, so I'm sure it'll be fixed by the time it's an official release. So this is Chrome for Android, and it is currently available for devices running Ice Cream Sandwich. So Android 4.0. It comes with a couple of new features. You get tabbed browsing. You can swipe through the tabs, kind of like a deck of cards is the way that Google explains it. You also have an incognito mode, the ability to sign in and sync your bookmarks, get autocomplete suggestions, view tabs that you have open on your synced Chrome desktop browser. This is a feature that I believe it was Taylor who wrote this article talking about Chrome. He has it on his tablet, and so he basically kind of did like a little mini review. And so he talked about this, like being able to sync your tabs and the windows that you have open between your desktop and your phone or your tablet. And previously we had the Chrome to phone application, which is where you could basically do this, like send a map or send a URL from your computer to your phone. But with the new Chrome web browser, you don't need an app. You can it'll all be there. You can just seamlessly sync it, and it's very easy to do. One of the downsides is that it does not support Flash, which is kind of strange to see. Flash has always been Android's, that's what it had over everybody. We have Flash, and so to see it without Flash is kind of interesting. But, Flash is gone. Adobe is no longer supporting Flash for phones, at least. It'll still be kind of on the internet, but they're moving to HTML5. So no Flash with Chrome, kind of weird, but there it is. I'm sure we'll get used to it. So that's Chrome. You can read the article by Taylor, and he goes into a lot more depth about it. Okay, let me check Facebook while I remember. Okay. Do you think Chrome will eventually become Android's stock browser? I could kind of see that happening, but then again, I could understand if it doesn't happen. Being an app, I guess if it were like a mandatory, default application, considering that it's built by Google, whereas Android is really like an open source operating system, anybody can use it and make customizations. Chrome is really from Google. So if, Google forced Chrome by default onto Android and put it in the code, I don't know, I mean, some people might be kind of upset about that, but then again, everyone knows Android is Google, so it might not be that big of a deal. Right now, I'm not really sure, but like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if it happened. I'm using Google Chrome to watch this vodcast right now. Awesome. Galaxy S3. Yeah, so we had some news on the Galaxy S3. It will supposedly be landing in May with a quad-core processor. So here are the new rumored specs for the Galaxy S3. It will be coming in May with Android 4.0 ice cream sandwich, a body that measures 7 millimeters thick, which is incredibly thin. It will have a Super AMOLED Plus display. We originally heard that it could have an HD display, so both of those are possible, obviously, because HD is a resolution and Super AMOLED Plus is the display technology. So it'd be awesome if it had a Super AMOLED Plus HD display. They also said it will have a quad-core processor, an 8-megapixel camera, and a 2-megapixel front-facing camera, and it will have LTE connectivity. Now, on the camera, we originally heard the Galaxy S3 would have a 12-megapixel camera, but now we're hearing it'll have an 8-megapixel camera, so we'll have to see what happens with that. So that's the Galaxy S3. Sydney, what's the hype about the Nokia Windows Phone? Why is it attracting so much attention when it has specs that don't compare to Android? Ooh, this is a good topic. Okay. So, the only reason I get excited about this is because I like Windows Phone, and it bothers me so much whenever people say, Windows Phone sucks, it has a 1 gigahertz single-core processor, that's crap. Okay, well, let me tell you, basically, about Windows Phone compared to Android. Android, yeah, you need a dual-core processor or a friggin' quad-core processor in order for it to run smoothly. For whatever reason, I'm not going to get into, depending on how you feel about Android, you could have, different reasons for that. But basically, Android, it just has a lot going on with it, and so it needs, a dual-core or quad-core processor. Windows Phone is just a lot more efficient, and so even with a single-core processor, and if you use a Windows Phone that has a single-core processor, it's incredibly smooth. The transitions are smooth. There's hardly any lag. Everything loads. Pinch to zoom is seamless. And so Windows Phone just simply doesn't need a dual-core processor. So, for it to say that the specs don't compare to Android, maybe physically by the numbers, a single-core processor compared to a dual-core processor, obviously not as good. But in terms of performance, it can definitely compete with Android. And there's probably it's better than half of the Android handsets because, if you consider that most Android phones that people buy are like, mid-range, low-end phones. Obviously, there's some high-end super phones that are definitely the top of the pack. But, if you consider the mid-range phones, the mid-range Android phones, even Windows Phone with a single-core processor, it's still better. And I totally just went on all fangirl. I am so sorry. I'm not supposed to do that. I'm supposed to be completely unbiased. But I've heard so many people talk bad about Windows Phone because it has a single-core processor, and I can't take it anymore. So that's the story. That's the reason why they're attracting so much attention, because it doesn't matter if it has a dual-core processor, it still performs great. And not only that, Nokia has great hardware. So Nokia has a great reputation. I mean, they've kind of ruined it in the US, but, worldwide, they still have a great reputation. Okay, let's move on. Sorry, again, I geeked out, and I'm sorry. I didn't mean to go on a whole thing there, but I just had to say it, and there it is. I will go back to being normal. Um, Sydney, I have been dying to ask you about your singing neighbor you tweet about. Yeah, my singing neighbor, I tweet about her a lot, because she's extremely annoying. She sings. No, actually, I don't really think you could call it singing. Um, in her mind, it's probably singing, but to me, it's more just like this god awful noise that I have to put up with. Pretty much every day she sings. Uh, and it's worse. Like if somebody's singing, you're like, and they can't sing, you're like, whatever. They don't have a good voice. But the problem is, whenever somebody can't sing, but they think they're a really good singer, they tend to over embellish a lot of things, and so she'll like try to sing all these high notes and she'll just belt out songs, and I'm like, oh my god, woman, you suck so much. And then she found auto-tune, which amazingly made her sound even worse. Okay, that's how bad she is. Anyway, so that's my singing neighbor. Really annoying. Talk about Samsung Super Bowl ad. I don't know, what do you want me to say about it? Titan 2 camera. Any comments about the quality? I think Taylor just said something about that. You can ask him. Obviously, I haven't had any hands-on time with it. It's not released yet. Have you heard of the Nokia phones that were made in the UK designed to have everything with the band One Direction on it? No, I haven't. I also love your other rants on Twitter. Thank you. Can Droid 4 be unlocked for T-Mobile? No, it's a CDMA phone. Well, it's LTE, but I'm pretty sure they use different they use different bands for their even though LTE is based on GSM technology and T-Mobile is a GSM carrier. I know that, but I'm pretty sure they use different frequencies, so I don't think that's possible at the moment. A good Android phone with less than a 4-inch display. Good Android phone with less than 4-inch display. The thing is with Android phones, a lot of the high-end ones, they have 4-inch or larger, and then like the mid-range to low-end phones, they're the ones that have the smaller display. I'm not sure why they do that. So a good one that has a smaller than 4-inch display, you're going to end up with a mid-range phone, which is going to be like, I don't know, something like the Optimus S or the Optimus T, or the Optimus One phones. They're on all of the carriers. Actually, the Galaxy Indulge, it's on Metro PCS, but that has I think it's smaller than 4 inches, and it's a great phone. I would recommend that one. Hey, did they put out an ad that was about a phone that was already out? I'm not sure what you're talking about. Can you set the band? Okay, I already saw that question. Yep, the note. I saw. I'm just reading random comments now. I'm not even... I think I'm catching like the tail end of all of these conversations, and so... let me see if there's anyone on Facebook. We have 3 minutes, by the way. 3 minutes left, so try to get any last minute questions. Nokia added a white version coming themselves, so that's pretty cool. Shoot. Oh, okay, you're talking to that guy. So there's another tail end of a conversation that I caught. Okay, here's a question. Sydney, somebody just got banned. Who got banned? Did I miss it? Sorry, I wasn't even paying attention. See, this is why I have moderators. Thank you, Taylor. Sydney, what are your thoughts on the Titan 2 and the original? And I have to say they released a successor 4 months ago. 4 months to after the original. HTC is not keeping their promise on hero devices. Okay. Sydney, what are your thoughts on the Titan 2? Yeah, great phone. Not very different from the original. I understand that. The original just came out. We're not entirely sure when the Titan 2 is coming out. At least I don't think so. Let me check my notes. Titan 2. March 18th, possibly. So yeah, not much longer after the original Titan. Yeah, I know it sucks, but I mean, see, the thing about, people get mad about, Motorola came out with the Droid Bionic, and then like a month later it was the Droid Razr, and then they're like, you just came out with the Droid 3 and now it's the Droid 4. Like, people complain about this all the time, but you don't have to buy the new phone. I mean, just because the Titan 2 comes out 4 months after the Titan doesn't mean that the Titan all of a sudden, like, doesn't work. I mean, it's not gonna just like, oh, Titan 2's out, shut down. I mean, that's not true. Your phone still works. It's still a great phone. It's just as good as it was when you bought it. So, yeah, I know it's probably a little upsetting, but I mean, what are you gonna do? Nothing. You still have a great phone, and that's it. It's a great phone. I think the Titan 2 is also a great phone. Like I said, not very different from the original Titan, except you have the 16 megapixel camera, which is nice to have. I'm a little skeptical about what the quality will be like, but I've talked about that before. Okay, why did Samsung put on an ad that was about a phone that was already out? I don't know. I had the same problem with that. You were talking about the Super Bowl ad. Yeah, I had the same question. I don't know. Will there be more phones like the HTC Rime? I'm not sure. I don't know. Why would I want to blow my upgrade on the Lumia 900 when Apollo is coming out and the Lumia 900 will be obsolete in months? I don't know. Is that a rhetorical question, or do you actually want me to answer that? I don't know. Okay, so it's 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, whichever, whatever, wherever you are. It's been an hour, so I gotta go, guys, because I actually have work I have to do to finish up for the day. But thanks, guys, for coming. I apologize for everything that went wrong with this broadcast. It was late. I rambled on about something, and I don't even know what happened, and we were only able to get to 3 topics. I apologize. I will be back next week, and hopefully Ustream will cooperate so we can have just a normal show, because this was definitely not a normal show. But thanks, guys, for coming. Again, I'll be back next week, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. You can follow me on Twitter if you want to, at phonedog_Sydney. But I'll see you guys later. Bye.